girls. Today is May 4th, 2020, and today we're going to get started with another math lesson. Before we get started, guys, today we are going to be needing a lot of paper. We're going to be working with division, so we are going to be needing some extra scratch paper where we are able to work out our problems, and so that we are also able to write all of our notes down. So if you don't have that with you right now, go ahead and press pause on the video, grab the materials that you're going to need, which means you're going to need paper, and you're going to need, of course, something to write with. So go ahead and grab your materials, and when you are ready, you can press play. Alright, boys and girls, so we're going to go ahead and begin. So today, the TEK that we're going to be working with is TEK 5.3G. And the objective for today, and this is something that you're going to be writing down in your scratch paper that you have. Make sure you're writing your objective and the vocabulary words. So the objective is the student will be able to solve for quotients of decimals to the hundredths up to 4-digit dividends and 2-digit whole number divisors using strategies and algorithms. The vocabulary that is going to be important for today's lessons is the three that you see. The first one is dividend, which means the amount that you want to divide up. Then you're going to have your divisor, which is the number that you're going to divide by. And then you have your quotient, which is the answer to a division problem. So right now, go ahead and pause the video and make sure you do write down these notes. I will be taking them off and writing something else in a minute. So go ahead and press pause and make sure you finish writing these notes. Alright, now what I went ahead and wrote for you are some division keywords. So as you know, the TEK for today, it is going to be about division. We're going to be doing a lot of division work in our word problems. And these are just some of the words, boys and girls, I want you to think of if you see them or come across them when you are doing a word problem. Usually these keywords kind of tell us that we might be working with division. It might not always be the case, but for the majority of the times it is. And so again, right away when you see these words, you can think, okay, maybe I'm going to be doing division. You always want to make sure you read the problem twice if you have to. 3 times if needed, to understand exactly what it is that you have to do. But just again, these are just some of the keywords that might help you to know what it is that you have to do. So some of the keywords are like split, each, cut, equal pieces, every, and shared equally. Again, these are not all of them. These are just some common ones that usually you see in word problems. That also tell us, that more than likely we're going to be dividing. And an important tip that I want you all to be using throughout is always raise your decimal before starting the problem. And if you can see, I wrote the word before in capital letters because it's very important that you do this before. I do remember when we would be back in class working on division problems, and sometimes a lot of the students would make mistakes on their answer because their decimal point was placed incorrectly. And keep in mind that when you are taking your tests, usually your answer choices are going to do that. They are going to trick you. They are going to write the exact same answer, but the decimal point is going to be placed differently. And that decimal point is what is going to be making the difference in your answer. So just please make sure that when you are working on word problems, and you are working on division problems, you always want to make sure you raise your decimal point before you start the problem, and this will really help you once you have your answer. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do, guys, is I'm going to be writing some word problems. You're going to be writing these word problems on your paper because we are going to be working on them together. As I am working them, I want you to be working them out too, because this is the time we're going to be able to practice kind of together, and you're going to be watching what I am doing. And then when we're done, you're going to be able to apply this skill into your assignment. So again, make sure you do write everything that is on the screen right now. If you need to press pause, go ahead and do so you can finish writing. And then I'm going to go ahead and write the problem. Alright, so here we have problem number 1. I am going to read it. Make sure you do write this in your paper. So problem 1, Anthony has a goal of saving $96.20. He will save the same amount each week for 13 weeks. How much will Anthony need to save each week in order to meet his goal? So at this moment, go ahead and write this problem on your paper. You may press pause on the video and then we will continue. Okay, now that you've written the problem, boys and girls, we're going to think really quick before we start of the keywords that Ms. Rodriguez was talking about earlier. So I do see here the word each. I see it here and I also see it on this part of the problem. So think about it. He had a goal that he wanted to save $96.20. He wanted to save the same amount each week. So every week he wanted to save the exact same amount. And he wanted to do this in the process of 13 weeks. So how much does he have to save each week in order to meet his goal? That means that if his goal is $96.20 and he has 13 weeks to do this, how much money should he be saving weekly so that he meets his goal? So we're going to go ahead and work on this problem together. Okay, so I wrote the problem down on my paper so that I'm able to work with you together. Okay, so again, Anthony has a goal of saving $96.20. He's going to be saving the same amount each week. So I'm just going to highlight each because those are my keywords that I know that I'm going to be dividing. So first we're going to be writing our division problem, which we know is $96.20. And we're going to divide that by 13. Now, before you start a division problem, boys and girls, let's remember that an easy way for us to do this is if we write our multiples. When we write our multiples, it makes it a lot easier when we are answering our division problem. So we're going to begin with our multiples of 13. So 13 times 2 gives us 26. Now I'm going to stop there because I know some of the students, like you're trying to do it on the side and then you end up doing a lot of work. So I'm just going to go over another way that you're able to do this. It's kind of easier and it's actually really helpful. So for example here, you always want to add the number on the top and the number on the bottom. So here we would do 3 plus 6. What is 3 plus 6? 9. So this would be a 9. And then 1 plus 2 is 3. So that's our next multiple. Now remember, you always want to do the top and the bottom. So now you're going to do 3 plus 9. What's 3 plus 9? 12. So we're going to put the 2 here. Now the 1, I'm going to put it right here on the side so I don't get confused. But I'm going to do the same thing. 1 plus 3 gives me 4. But I have to add this 1. So 4 plus 1 gives me 5. Now that I did this, I do not have that 1 on the side anymore. That's why I put it on the side. Because I know if I add it there, I'm going to be getting confused each time I add. So I'm not going to add it there. Now I'm going to do the same thing. Remember, the top and the bottom. What's 3 plus 2? 5. 1 plus 5? 6. And I just continue. I have to try to get all the way to 96. That's where I can stop my multiples. So I'm going to continue. 5 plus 3? 8. 6 plus 1? 7. Remember, only the top and the bottom. 8 plus 3? 11. 1. Now remember, I already have a 1 there on the side. I don't have to draw it again. I'm just going to use the same 1. Now 7 plus 1? 8. But I have this 1 again. So now it's 9. I have 91. I can do one more. 3 plus 1 gives me 4. 1 plus 9 gives me 10. So I write 10. I already went over 96, so I'm going to stop there. Now let's see. Well, we know, of course, before we begin, we did our multiples. I'm going to raise my decimal point. So if my decimal point is here, I'm going to make sure I bring that right up and put it there. Once I do that, I know I will not make a mistake of where I'm placing my decimal point. So we know 13 goes into 9 0 times, so we're going to write our 0 there. But now we're going to do this together. 13 goes into 96, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. 7 times. And we know that 13 times 7 gives me 91. I'm going to subtract. This is 5. And I'm going to bring my 2 down. Now, how many times does 13 go into 52? 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So we put our 4 here. 13 times 4 gives me 52. And again, I'm going to subtract. I bring my 0 down as well. And my 0 comes up. So the answer to the problem is 7.40. That is how much money he would have to save. $7.40 each week so that he is able to meet his goal of $96.20. Now, look at all the work we did, boys and girls. We wrote our division problem. We had to do our multiples. But at the end, it gave us our answer. And see how helpful this was to do before we even did our problem. Now, what you can also do is you can check your work. Now that you have the answer, $7.40, we can just multiply by 13 so that we check our work. And if we multiply, 0 times 3 gives us 0. 4 and 3 makes 12. 7 and 3, 21. Plus 1, 22. Add our 0. This gives us 0. 4 times 1 is 4. 7 times 1 is 7. And then we add. And it gave us 96.20. So we know we got the right answer. So we always know that when we divide, we can multiply. This is just a great strategy for you to check your work. I'm not saying you have to do it all the time, but it is very, very helpful, especially when you know, or if you're like iffy, like, oh, did I do it right? It's always best to just go back and check our answer. It's not going to hurt, and at the end of the day, it's going to help us so that we make sure we get our answer correct. So we're going to move on to problem number 2. I'm going to go ahead and write it, and you're going to be writing it in a minute. Here's our problem number 2. Make sure you write it down. It says, a rope was 14.35 inches long. Megan cut the rope into 7 pieces of equal length. What was the length of each piece of rope in inches? Again, go ahead and pause the video if you need more time to write the problem. Alright, so here we're going to be doing the exact same thing. I'm going to be highlighting just those words that stand out to me in the problem. And for example, here I see Megan cut. I know when they say cut, more than likely it is a division problem. So a rope was 14.35 inches long. That's how long the rope was. Then Megan decided to cut the rope into 7 pieces of equal. That's another keyword right there, equal. She wanted to make sure each piece was the same length. So it's asking us, what's the length of each piece of rope in inches? So again, we're going to be doing the exact same thing. I'm going to be dividing 14.35, and I'm going to divide that by 7 because it's 7 equal pieces. Now, remember, one of the things we have to do before is we need to make sure we bring up our decimal point before we begin our problem. This is really going to help us. And we also want to make sure we have our multiples just to make it easier for us when we're working out the problem. So we're going to do our multiples of 7. This one's actually pretty simple. 7, 14, again, 21. Remember, you can add the top and the bottom. For example, here it would be, it's 7, 14, 21, 28. And we'll do one more. 35. There we go. Okay, so now that we did our multiples, we're going to begin our division problem. So 7 goes into 1, we know 0 times, but it goes into 14 2 times. Then 7 times 2 gives us 14. So we subtract, we bring our 3 down. 7 goes into 3, we know 0 times. We're going to bring our 5 down as well. So 7 goes into 35. How many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We know 5 times. And our answer is 2.05. So each piece of rope was 2.05 inches long. Each piece. And then remember, you can always check your work by multiplying. So if we have 2.05, we want to make sure that we can multiply that by 7 and that it is going to give us 14.35. 5 times 7 gives me 35. 7 times 0, we know that is 0. And then 3. And then 2 times 7 gives us 14. And then we have our decimal. So yes, it gave us the exact same answer. So that means our answer was correct. We're going to go ahead and do one problem. This is problem number 3. And it says, what is the quotient when 0.75 is divided by 5? So again, go ahead and write the problem down and we will work on it. Alright, so really quick, I'm just going to go ahead and highlight the word. The word that stood out to me was quotient because I already know that that means the answer. So pretty much it's asking us, what is the answer when 0.75 is divided by 5? Very, very simple. So again, we're going to go ahead and write our problem. 0.75 divided by 5. And then again, remember your decimal point. You want to make sure you bring it up before we begin. And we can do our multiples. And these are also easy. Alright, so how many times does 5 go into 0? We know, of course, 0. How many times does 5 go into 7? 1 time. 5 times 1 gives us 5. We subtract, we bring our 5 down. And then how many times does 5 go into 25? We know it's 5 times. That gives us 25. And that is our answer, 0.15. And again, you can always multiply by 5 to make sure that we got the correct answer. Alright, boys and girls, so that is it for today's lesson. So again, just today we're doing a lot of, we're working with division. Please make sure that when you are doing your assessment, you have paper with you, your assignment, I'm sorry. Make sure you do have paper with you. You want to make sure you are writing down the problems. Do not try to work this in your head. I will be putting in tricky answers for you, so don't try to work these problems in your head. I'd rather you do them on a piece of paper so that way you're able to check your work and you're able to get the correct answer. If you need any help at all throughout the time that you are working on your assignment, just go ahead and send me a message and I will be more than happy to help you. I will see you guys. Bye.